We're all here because of the unacceptable low payment to practitioners, particularly at district court level. We're just very disappointed at the fees that have been left at 2002 rates. I earn €25.20 for remand, which is like the first day in court. If somebody pleads guilty for a full guilty plea hearing, it's €50.40, and it's €67 for a full trial hearing. We can't survive on those fees. In reality, it's justice on the cheap.
Effectively, we're here in a protest to try and get the legal aid and criminal prosecution rates restored. They were decreased in line with all the other public servants a number of years ago, and despite all of those pay measures going back up, ours hasn't been restored. And effectively there's a growing level of frustration among barristers that we shouldn't be singled out for that unequal treatment.
It's patently ridiculous that the cuts that were imposed have not been rescinded to date, and that we appear to be the only people to whom that this has happened. And I would just question why. What have any of the criminal barristers done to warrant this?
This is not sustainable. If you want your criminal justice system to properly represent people accused of crimes, and for those who are victims of crimes, it needs to be financially on a sustainable footing. It isn't.
Who can go into a shop paying 2023 prices with 2002 wages? That's really what it's all about. The people who get the service, that is to say, the public, victims of crime and wrongly accused persons, they will surely be alarmed to hear what's going on.
When you're starting out for the first 5 years, you're not making a sustainable living. A lot of people are trying to do bits of other work just to survive. Certainly if you're paying rent, you can't survive.
There's an awful lot of young barristers in there who are working in shops at the weekend, who are waitressing, who are working in bars, just so they can stay at the bar. Now, no other profession would allow it to be degraded to such an extent.
I'm very concerned about people leaving the profession. I'm more concerned about people not coming into the profession. People just can't hang on any longer. We have a state which has turned its back on properly funding the criminal justice system. I'm in favour of strike. Some of my other colleagues are in favour of strike. Other colleagues won't do criminal work anymore. So we're taking the name off the legal aid panel. So that's what it's going to progress into. So there won't be any experienced people around to take on the criminal work. So it's up to the Minister for Justice to, in a very respectful way, get their house in order. We're not going to be chasing the Department of Public Expenditure to fund the criminal justice system. That's for the Minister to do.
At least 150 barristers withdrew from court and took to the steps outside the Criminal Courts of Justice in Dublin. They say they had no alternative but to take this action.
Brought us to this point is the failure of successive governments to actually reverse pay cuts that were applied during the austerity era, when the reversal of those pay cuts was actually recommended by the Department of Justice and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, and that was in 2018.
They were joined by criminal defence solicitors who say they're working in the district court for rates of pay below 2002 levels.
In 2002, we got €217 for a first day fee in the district court. In 2023, we get €201. We're particularly hindered as sole practititioners in that we were slashed in 2011 and only allowed to be paid for 2 cases per day on a full day fee, which has really devastated an awful lot of small practices across Ireland.
Barristers and solicitors are concerned about the future, with fewer lawyers able to make a living from criminal work.
I've come into the bar having a pension from my teaching career of 36 years in Ballyfermot. If I didn't have that, I just couldn't stay at the bar, and that is an awful shame because that is happening to so many young practitioners.
It's discouraging people from different socioeconomic backgrounds from coming into the profession, and that's something we're very, very keen to push with the Bar of Ireland, that this is a job for everybody and it's open to everybody, but to do that people need to be able to make a decent living.
If we don't have a properly funded legal system, then people can't have access to a fair trial, and victims of crime can't have their cases dealt with efficiently and in a reasonable time. That is the situation in the criminal justice system. It's chronically underfunded for many, many years, and barristers' fees is one part of that question.
Lawyers also protested at courthouses around the country. Today's action has disrupted hundreds of cases, with most adjourned to tomorrow or a later date. The Bar of Ireland says the frustration of its members is clear, and it says if there's no progress on the issues following the budget next week, it'll go back to its members to discuss what further action may be taken. Orla O'Donnell, RTE News, the Criminal Courts of Justice.